What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Monday, November 11th, 2024 edition of the Daily Energy Newsbeat Stand-Up. Here are today's top headlines. First up, oil slick himself, Gavin Newsom, calls emergency session to Trump-proof California, defend climate policies, and more. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Next up, lame duck Biden already hamstringing Trump's much-touted energy agenda. Shocker. Next up, German president hitman overhead German president hitman on head over Nord Stream. This is
it's a weird one.
It's a weird one. It literally physically assaulted somebody after he criticized him for support of the gas pipeline. So we've got people hitting people over the head because of Nord Stream. And remember, the Ukrainian SEALs, but we'll leave it at that. Next up, COP29 chief executive filmed promoting fossil fuel deals. So when is peak oil, you may ask? That's funny. We'll dive into this one. This is hilarious. Hey, we love a good oil and gas deal. Trust me. We love it.
Yeah.
Next up, Elon Musk makes Ukraine conflict prediction. I wonder what he will say. Stu will then toss for me. I will quickly cover what happened in the oil and gas markets on Friday and quickly run through all the different earnings that we saw. There was a bunch that I missed being out on Wednesday. We will cover all that and a bag of chips, guys. As always, I am Michael Tanner, joined by Stuart Turley. Where do you want to begin?
Hey, let's start with our buddy Oil Slick. Governor Newsom calls emergency session to Trump-proof California and defend climate policies and more. Michael, this is about as dumb as it gets. Let me set the stage for this article. California gets about $228 billion in annual federal funding for different programs. That doesn't include all the money incoming from the military that's camped out there. That's a lot of other things. For a bankrupt state, you don't want to piss off losing that funding, and that's what he's doing. Let's go through the stats on this. Governor Newsom said Trump, based on his actions during his first term in office, is a threat to California's climate change program and illegal immigrant population, women's rights, and LGBTQ plus 3 over the square root of 3, 4, whatever the hell that is, rights. California is ready to fight, Newsom said. I just called an emergency session, which will be in the beginning of December. It'll be our fundamental civil rights, reproductive freedom. This is bullcrap.
Well, I mean, the thing about Newsom is he's also a lame duck. So I think personally what he's trying to do with a lot of this stuff is keep his name in the news as long as he can, because when he leaves office in 2026, now there's a gap because he's term limited to when if he were to try to run in 2028. So I think a lot of this stuff is a bunch of hand waving. The real question is how much can he do? I mean, the side of it where, and hear me out on this one, I'm a states' rights over federal rights. I believe that the more local you get, the better you can govern your community. So I think the real question here is, what are states allowed to do outside the purview of the federal government? Obviously, the federal government law trumps everything, which is good, but
you're on the right track, Michael. But here's where it gets a little weird. Governor Newsom has influenced the other 17 states that have passed laws that if it's passed laws in California, they can follow it as well too. So this complicates it in a energy perspective on California car mandates. Let's just take the car mandates. It ruins the ability for people to get good gas mileage in California. They do more damage to the environment and they have the highest prices possible.
I'm not arguing the fact that I think these policies are stupid. What I'm saying is, should states allowed to be passed stupid laws, assuming it's what its citizens want? That I think is the real underlying. I'm telling you,
it is what
the thing. It is my belief that the more local you get, your local city council knows better how to govern you than they do in the White House.
I agree.
They should, because they're there every day. So some of this stuff is like, if California wants to drive the car off the cliff, who are we to stop them?
Nope. I'm going to say goodbye. Have a great Thelma and Louise episode and have a great day.
Now, the counter argument to my argument is, well, the problem is someone's going to have to pick up the pieces from all this. Someone
Right.
is going to have to come in when their energy costs go through the roof and step in and subsidize. And it's probably going to be you, the taxpayer,
We
in
have seen
California,
that
but also from the
time.
federal government side. So that I think is the counter to my counter argument.
Well, here's where it starts coming into play. And we're seeing that voter fraud is still going on in Arizona. And don't hit your head against the thing because
We won, Stu. Just let's put it to
no, and
rest.
what I'm saying is that you have voter fraud going on in California and in Arizona and when you take a look at voter fraud, you are going to have to put up some serious security measures in there because how in the world did pencil neck shift win? Huh?
Well, I mean, because California, because again, the people of California are brain dead. I mean, let's just
It's
be honest. They voted in these people.
Well, let's go to the next lame duck. Speaking of lame duck Biden already hamstringing Trump's much touted energy agenda. This is kind of funny. Less than 48 hours in the second paragraph, Michael, of this article, less than 48 hours after Trump won decisive electoral college and popular vote victories, federal agencies are moving to interfere with Trump's plan to expand and unfreeze approvals for LNG exports and to drill for more oil and gas on American lands. The Biden Harris administration paused approvals for LNG exports in January, and they are still trying to close it down.
I love this phrase that they're trying to call it. They're trying to call it Trump proof. Well, every administration who loses and the opposing party comes in deals with this. There's not much you can really do. Now, I think the LNG pause, I talked about this on one of my solo shows. There's some shenanigans going on with this. They paused it originally because they thought this study needed to be done. Well, they may have already done the study. They may have
They
shelved the
did. They
study.
buried that
Yep.
study.
I covered it on one of my solo shows. So now they're going to, oh, look, we found the study. We can pull it out of the closet now and say that. But look, there's nothing really the Biden administration can do to stop this. Opening up the LNG exports is a boon for the American economy. And it's actually good if you care about natural gas prices. I'm a natty bull. Prices are going to go up when we're allowed to export natural gas because it allows it to open us up to the international market. So I think this is,
Exactly.
ironically, shutting down the LNG export facilities actually keeps natural gas prices low. That's the funny part.
Wow. What a complicated mess because we can't have AI. We got to get rid of
And, and
coal, but we can't have AI without nuclear. We're
and maybe
killing
they
nuclear.
and maybe
Wow.
they know that, and maybe they know that. Maybe they're like, hey, because here's the thing. I think they
No,
all, my
you're
opinion.
assuming intelligence, Michael.
I actually am assuming a little bit of chicanery and a little bit of I don't think this is incompetence. I think this is they know what they're doing and it's evil.
All right. Well, speaking of Nord Stream, German president hit a man on the head over Nord Stream. You can't make this kind of stuff up.
You
German
can't.
President Mark Walter Steinmeier allegedly assaulted writer Marco Martin over his criticisms of the Nord Stream gas pipelines, Bild has reported. Michael, this is hilarious. Dude, I see nothing. I could see Sergeant Schultz sitting in the corner. Now, this is absolutely hilarious when we sit back and think about it. Martin reportedly argued that the German government's participation in Nord Stream might have emboldened the Russian President Vladimir Putin to launch his military campaign against Ukraine. I disagree with that 300%. The reason that Putin invaded Ukraine is because the NATO was encroaching and breaking all the rules that he told them not to do. That had nothing to do with it. The U.S. was alleged to have done the dirty deed, and Biden even telegraphed it. My statement today, Michael, if you go green and you go woke, you go broke, and your government gets thrown out. And that's exactly what's happened. Germany is deindustrialized and they are broke. The government has failed because they are the poster child of green energy. So, my recommendation is the war is going to end next month. sign the Ukraine deal and go ahead and start buying that gas, there is still one Nord Stream pipeline that is still available to use. They only got three of the four pipelines. So I'd say fire that bad dog up and start trying to get some low cost energy so you could get your cotton picking government going and re energize the German market.
Yeah, I mean, it goes to show you when you start hitting people over the head how sensitive you are with this topic. I mean, if it really was, Russian, people wouldn't care if you yell out, "Oh, it was you. Oh, it was this." Like, the fact that they're so sensitive about this topic tells me everything you think so in because of this. But let's move on to COP29.
Let's go to COP20. Michael, you can't buy this kind of entertainment. COP29 chief exec filmed promoting fossil fuel deals. So I added this in the title. When is peak oil, you may ask? If COP29 is now saying in Azerbaijan, COP29 has not responded to this, Baku is hosting it in the United Nations Climate Conference. We have a lot of gas fields that are developed, and he's trying to sell them. Elnor Sultanov discussing investment opportunities.
You can't make this stuff up, folks. You can't make
You,
this stuff up.
you can't. There is no more energy transition. B, the UN needs to be thrown out of the United States. C, COP28 and COP29 are absolutely worthless. Climate change, from a global perspective, even according to the World Economic Forum, because President Trump has been reelected, is dead. So I think it's kind of funny. That was their words, not mine. Let's go to the last story, Michael. Musk makes a Ukraine conflict prediction. The senseless killing will end. Time is up for the warmonger profiteers. Musk posted on X later in the day. His post was in reply to a claim that a prolific ex commentator, Mario Narfel, about plans Trump for Ukraine. I find it odd that Trump invited Musk, Michael, on the phone with Zelensky in order to talk about the war. Don't you find that odd?
I do find it weird. Love me some Elon Musk outside of the little internet issue we had in this article or in this recording.
It's
But I
recording.
don't know quite what he's doing on that call. What do you think? Why was Elon on the call with Trump and Zelensky? Makes no sense to me.
That's a great question, Michael. And part of that reason is because Ukraine was a crime scene. Ukraine, we had 26 bioweapons labs in Ukraine that were against Russia. We were doing things there. You have all the money changing hands from the US to the politicians to the, oh, what was the cryptocurrency guy that got Sam, whatever his name was?
Oh, Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF.
Yeah, all that money was changing hands from Ukraine. So it's a crime scene. When Elon bought X, all of X totally became a crime scene as well because we learned about the government corruption. We found out who was buying what, where, when, and how. That's why he was on that call. And then shortly after that, President Trump talked to Putin. And so Putin and President Trump told Putin, don't escalate any wars. I like this. This is kind of cool. Let's not have any wars.
Hey, I guess however you get to the conclusion, I'm with it. Do find it a little strange now. Elon Musk is all of a sudden getting involved in foreign policy. Here stick with. He's got enough on his plate between cutting government efficiency, cutting. Hold on, let me finish. I let you talk through. Even though the Starlink that cut out on you, I let you start over. He's got enough. He's got enough on his plate. I think. What is it? Does it matter how you get to, does it matter how you get from A to B? Does the journey matter or does just the outcome matter? I don't know. I tend to think the journey also matters a little bit in the outcome. But either way, yes, very glad this conflict will get over. We don't need Ukraine in NATO. And if this allows gas to start flowing more efficiently through Europe, yay, I'm all for it.
Oh, I am too, because the reindustrialization is important. That's all I'm wanting is low cost energy for everybody.
And better Starlink connection. But that's just me being funny. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump over into finance. But before we do that, guys, as always, we got to pay the bills. Thank you for checking us out here on the world's greatest podcast. All the news and quote unquote analysis that you've heard is brought to you by said website. Stu and the team do a tremendous job making sure that website stays up to speed. Everything you need to know to be the tip of the spear when it comes to the energy and the oil and gas business. Take a look at the description below for all links to the timestamps, links to the articles. You can also check us out on Substack, theenergynewsbeat.substack.com. A lot of great stuff going on there. I'd recommend subscribing. And if you do want to go ahead and get a paid subscription, you can have all of our previous articles that we've written for free. The only thing that's available or for that subscription, if you do only do a free subscription, you only get kind of a rolling 2 weeks, and then everything else goes behind the paywall. So we appreciate all the support there. Also, guys, we're coming up on tax season. If you're paying taxes in 2024, you're still living in 2023, go ahead, wipe your tax deduction or wipe your tax problem out there. Invest in oil and gas. Check us out at investinoil.energynewsbeat.com for more information on how an oil and gas project that we are partnering up with can help you save money on taxes, diversify your portfolio, and add a little bit of extra monthly income into your revenue stream. Guys, again, taxes are 2023. We're living in 2024. Let's get rid of that tax burden, especially this last couple months in terms of when it's going to the Biden administration. We wouldn't want that. But let's jump over here. Overall markets view on Friday, Stu, pretty good. I mean, stock markets are all-time high. We wonder, that's great for investors. We love that. We were above 60. We peaked above 6,000 just for a second, finished just at 5,995. So we'll see 6,000 on Monday, no doubt. That was up 0.3 of a percentage point. NASDAQ was basically flat on Friday. 2-year yields were up 1.24 percentage points. I mean, again, just unbelievable. 10-year yields fell 0.46 percentage points. Dollar index basically flat. We did see Bitcoin jump. I mean, Bitcoin's up huge. Bitcoin's over $80,000 per coin. I've got to love, if you're a Trump fan, you got to love the Bitcoin stuff. Pretty unbelievable there. Crude oil actually lost about 2 percentage points on Friday, down to 70.38. Brent actually stayed fairly flat, 74.12. Natural gas tumbled about a percentage point, down to $2.69. XOP contract was actually up 0.7 of a percentage point. A couple notes on that. Mainly why oil and gas fell was the expected shut-ins from the hurricane that's kind of rolling through the Gulf of Mexico right now was less than expected, or at least the prolonged outages were less than expected. Pretty dismal Chinese economic stimulus package results. We've kind of now seen the first wave of those kind of roll through the economy. Pretty terrible. Though on a weekly basis, though, oil was up about 1 percentage point, which is interesting given the fact that Trump did win. The theory goes, oh, he's going to win, and all of a sudden it's gonna tank prices. Again, it was Hurricane Rafael. It shut down about 23% of the oil in the U.S. Gulf of Mexico, but really that the where that storm has gone has shifted kind of to the central Gulf of Mexico, which doesn't necessarily impact anything. It did crank through Cuba, though, unfortunately. So if anyone's listening to us from Cuba, we are sorry there. Fairly, I think one of the reasons why you're seeing oil prices steady rather than drop is I do think people expect Venezuela and Iran to have tighter sanctions on them from an oil production standpoint. So any necessary increases of U.S. production that people are expecting could be offset by Iranian and Venezuelan crude necessarily cutting that supply to the market, so things could balance out. We did see the U.S. Federal Reserve cut interest rates by 0.25%, which also helped lift prices, and is the reason why we're seeing the economy rip. It was funny. You see Jerome Powell come out and ask if Trump asked him to step down. He said no. I guess good for him. He's obviously probably not going to get the job once things come around again, but it's going to be interesting. I am watching to see a lot of what that cabinet shakes out to be. We've heard rumors of Doug Burgum as the energy czar, which could be very interesting. So we will see how all that goes. We can throw this picture up here. Rig counts basically flat on Friday, so nothing really to report there. Canada saw 6 rigs drop. We saw internationally a raise of 3. A lot of earnings happened last week, guys. We had Ovintiv offshore, Civitas, EOG, Granite Ridge, Berry, Murphy Oil, Landbridge Company, Apache, Sandridge, Lucero, Riley Permian, Ring Energy, Vital, Talos, Cord, Marathon, Permian Resources. We're not going to go over any of them. Point is, there was a lot of earnings. Go to energynewsbeat.com if you want to check out all of them. We are keeping them up to speed there, guys. But other than that, Stu, what are you worried about this week?
Oh, I'm just thrilled that we're going to keep nosing on down the road and keep your head on a swivel until we get the illegal aliens out. I think it's going to be entertaining.
Oh, we will keep it on a swivel. So, with that, guys, we will let you get out of here, get back to work. We appreciate you guys checking us out here on the world's greatest podcast. For Stuart Turley, I'm Michael Tanner. We'll see you tomorrow, folks.
See ya.